You know, on a summer's day like this, nothing beats a stroll in the British countryside. But I'm actually here in East Sussex, not to enjoy the farmland. I'm here because there's a barn right in front of me. And inside this barn, there's a couple of cars. But one car in particular has been in the same family from new. Half the family said back in the mid-90s when it went in there, oh, it's come to the end of its life, let's just get rid of it. And the other half of the family were like, no, this was Grandpa's car from new. Let's keep it, and one day we'll get it back out and resurrect it. Well, it's still in there. So today I'm going to get it out, I'm going to have a look at it, and this is a special car from the early 80s, two-door, German. And I have no idea what condition it's in, but I do know that it's deeply desirable, and I know that you're going to want to come with me. So this is a barn find episode of The Late Break Show, and I'm Jonny Smith. So David, thanks for inviting me.
No problem.
This is your parents' farm, is it?
It is, yeah. So they've been here 40 years. So I grew up here, but I live away now with family, not far away, but yeah, it's been theirs for 40 years.
So the barn we're in, I know that there's now ponies and horses that come and live in here, but you've got other cars which we'll have a closer look at later on in the day. You've got a Triumph Spitfire there. Is that right?
Yeah, Triumph Spitfire. We've got an old Mini in the corner. So the Mini was, I guess, my first car, but field car. I think we were about 12 when we got that. And then the Spitfire, I think I was about 18, but then we finally got it restored and used it for my wedding, which was 10 years ago, but it's not moved since.
Okay.
And then on the other side, my first road car's a Ford Escort that's over there. And then obviously the BMW you're coming to see. So
it's the E21 BMW 3 Series, which we must go and have a look at. So that car was owned new by your grandpa.
So my grandpa had it from new, so 1981, and then it got to the early 90s, and we think it probably just became a bit too heavy, difficult for him to drive, and so my dad took it on, and my dad had it through sort of early 90s, probably mid-90s, maybe 96, and we'll check the tax list, but I think that's when it came off the road. And so he had it, and it was used, you know, I was driven to school in it, and so it sort of, again, this sort of sentimental attachment to it.
Yeah.
And then as part of the cars that have gone, my mum had said, you know, it's going, we're going to scrap it.
Oh my gosh.
And I had said, no, I want to keep this one.
Yeah.
And so, again, must have been sort of mid-90s, it was driven into the alley there, and that's where it stayed
so
since.
It was driven in?
It was driven in, so it's been parked in there, and then at some point when my Escort came off the road, I can't remember if that was driven in or not, but that was put in. Then over time, there's been haystacks and stuff that have been put up around it, and it sat there since, we think, mid-90s. But it was the car that we said, no, you know, one day I'd like to restore it, and I don't want it to go because of this.
Yeah.
You know, when my granddad was alive, it was a sort of a pride and joy of
So
when
did he die?
He died, I think it must have been about 15 years ago.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he was meticulous with it.
He was meticulous, and when we were sort of trying to work out the dates, when we found the service record, obviously the BMW book, in his ownership, it's sort of on the nose of mileage or year. Servicing once a year, twice a year. And then from 1989 through to 94, there's a gap. And so our logic is at some point, that's when my dad took it, because my dad's not quite so meticulous. So at some point he's taken it then, and then it's starting to get stamped up again. And we're thinking that it probably got stamped because my granddad would have said, I can see you haven't had it serviced, and he would have booked it in and had it serviced back at the same garage.
Right.
And so we think that's where sort of the rough dates on it.
We need to go and have a look at it.
Yeah,
let's go and have a look
way,
at it.
have a look. Out of the way, Willow.
The dogs are always one step ahead, look.
Dogs are in already, yeah.
Right. Okay, so that
That was my...
That's not the BMW.
No, that was my first road car. That's a Escort Combi van.
Oh.
So it's a 3-door with a sort of fold-down bench seat in the back. This was, like I said, put in here a long time ago. Yeah, and it's sat in front of the BMW.
So what was the attraction to... Because this is probably rare. There's probably people watching this who go, this is way rarer than an estate or a saloon or a hatch.
Yeah, so this was is a Combi van. So I used to do a lot of BMXing, so I wanted something I could put bikes in the back of. So like I said, it's got a fold down seat, but it's basically solid panel on the back like a van.
Yeah.
But it didn't have the full Escort van shape. So it's I guess it's...
This is I'm going to say, around about the Millennium Time Warp, you have an entire dashboard of cassette tape.
I do, yeah,
Don't
I
you?
do. Yeah.
I don't know what it says on the hippie wagon, and someone's written on the dash.
Something like that. I think it had a bit of a hard time with friends drawing on it and marking it. There's
oh wow, there's a bottle of ice blue Alcopop. Which is of its time. And you appear to have lost a watch. There's a watch on the passenger seat along with gigs, clubs, pubs, eats and events guide.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
But hey, we'll come on to this in more detail later.
Yeah, so this is it. This is the one you're here to see.
Goodness gracious me. Well, it's a real barn find.
Yeah.
320 E21 3 Series. This was back when you couldn't get a 4-door 3 Series. It was 2-door only. And wow.
I always just liked it, and again, the sentimental attachment to it. I said, let's not get rid of it.
Yeah.
And it'd be the sort of hope that one day I'd restore it. But, you know,
that hasn't happened.
Kids and family, it hasn't happened, and it's just sat here. So we're
it's
trying
dry.
to figure it out. It's dry.
It's dry.
You know, it's airy in here, but it has just sat here, and it's either had this or something else parked in front of it, and then when the hay comes in, that's loaded up behind it.
Yeah.
And so it's sort of effectively been trapped in here since
Oh my
the mid-90s. I mean, at the time I was a lot younger, but from what I can remember, mechanically it was relatively okay, and it was the rust that had started to let it down.
Yeah. So what we'll do, we will put the tyres up on the Escort, and we'll pull that out the way we've just come in.
Yeah, we'll pull that into the yard that way. Yeah.
And the yard's pretty good. We can have a look around the cars in the yard, and then we'll inflate the tyres of this and see if we can attach a rope, and hopefully it will pull free.
Yeah.
And we'll get it out in the sun.
Yeah.
While I'm doing all this inflation caper, why not subscribe to the Late Break Show if you haven't already, and have a look at our merch. I've got a merch shop. You can buy stuff like t-shirts. Just saying. Stickers, great. All 4 wheels are rolling. That's great. Yeah. That's great.
Okay there?
Yeah. I've just had a quick look when I was looking at that front wheel. The car is, I think it looks more rotten than it actually is. Back arches and front wings are pretty much knackered. Rear valance and front valance are pretty much knackered. But in terms of the structure around the suspension and the floor pans are still really bright. And right up where the struts mount in the back, they all look really good as well. Here we go, look. Let's have a look. So it's rotted around the edge of the fuel filler. But the rest of the boot floor is actually okay. That bit there is where one of those drain holes are, and it's rotted around it. Before I work on the car, I just want to get rid of the worst of the dirt and the hair, the stable hair. So I'm just going to give it a brush down. Not a recommended form of detailing on a car that you love and respect the paint of, but it is a soft brush. And then we can see about opening the bonnet and looking at the engine. So we've decided we're going to work on it out here. We've brushed it down and we've put the parasol up so we can work on the engine bay without getting burnt to a crisp. Dave's valeting the Escort van with a brush, a soft brush, which I've done on this. But I wanted to have a look inside because I love the cabins of these, and David's early memories of sitting in the back of this when it was his dad's. I love the shape, the dish of the steering wheel, and the way that the controls, the dash curve around to the driver. It's lovely. And I was just looking at the condition, you know, of the upholstery, which is brown carpets, brown seats, beige on the outside. Actually quite a cool colour scheme nowadays. And there's only one bit of fraying on the back rest of the seat here. Everything else will probably clean up okay, and I can't see, despite all of the hay and the horsehair, can't see any sign of mice, which is rather good. Oh, it's a bit stiff. Tell you what though, the fit of both the doors, oh, it's really nice. It's really nice. I've noticed also pop-out back windows. I forgot that these had the pop-out back windows being the two-door, but yeah, this is lovely. This is lovely in here. And that piece of trim that's missing down here is there. And although this carpet is really dirty, it doesn't look that badly worn, especially for the mileage of the car. We've got a cassette here. Dilapidations number 2. Ah, what's that? Planning Conference 1981. So this car was new in 81, and was Michael Wood your grandpa's name? Was, yeah. So the original owner, Dave's grandpa, this is a conference he must have gone to in 81. So they said that this was originally his company car from new, and then he bought it off the company. It's nice, isn't it? We need to have a look at the, you pop the bonnet by lifting that. Let's go and start work on the engine, I think. Yeah, what I'll do is take the air cleaner off so we can get access to the carburettor and the throttle linkage. Take the plugs out as I normally would, which would be from that side, and then we disconnect the fuel system, and then we'll see if the engine's free to turn over, and we'll get a spark, and then we will introduce the Tony BMW Can of Hope, who is here in spirit. Tony, this is a BMW. It's got your name on it. And let's hope that we could fire this thing up today. It'd be great, wouldn't it? I love the engine sound of these BMW 6s. Just wanted to check in here for mice. barns being a prime place for mice, but there's no rodents in there. That's good. Check the oil. The oil was a bit low, so we've put fresh oil in it. Ordinarily, you know, when you come to use a car properly, you'd obviously completely service the oil, but we never really run cars for very long, very high revs, so I'm going to try and keep the dirt out of it as best we can, and I want to get these plugs out of the lovely Slant 6. Looks like there's been some, David found some HT leads on the back seat, so some leads are new and some are not, so I don't know what the deal is with those. We'll have a look. So, yeah, we can put a rag over
cover
that.
it up.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, because it is rather barn-findy and dusty in here, isn't it?
Everything else is moving other than the actual linkage.
The actual throttle?
Yeah, the linkage is what's stiff, but everything else, see what I mean? I mean, it's not free, but it's not...
Which one's the choke? Because
that's got to be the choke,
I
isn't
thought
it?
that'd be the choke, and these are the mains.
And those are the mains.
It's not cruise control, is it? This car hasn't got optional cruise control.
No idea. I don't think you know those sorts of things when you're 11 in the back seat of a car.
Well, I'm just wondering whether this is part of cruise control. Haven't looked to see if there's a cruise control knob.
Maybe.
Stalk. I mean, it.
Leave it soaking and then see.
I'll have a look in a second. But so if we can get the plugs out, just to squirt a little bit of lube down there, and we'll turn it over initially with obviously no fuel supply and no compression, with the plugs out to will it run. Are you a gambling man, Dave?
At times, yeah. I'm not sure I'd give you great odds on this, but
Oh, nice. Okay.
I'm optimistic.
So your mum was telling us that she's the one that insisted on having a bit of an automotive clear out of the barn period.
Yeah, it was her the driving force. Yeah, I think it was up to me. You would have seen a lot more cars today than what
And
they'd
all be here.
They'd all be very similar condition to this, unfortunately, I think, but there would have been a few more here. Yeah. And it's the 1 in, 2 out policy that
she introduced.
That rather ruined it for us. Yeah.
So were there any that you regret getting rid of, or your mum getting rid of for you? Should we say?
To be honest with you, I almost regret all of them. But in hindsight, there was an Astra GTE which we would have kept. And there was a Dolomite Sprint which sort of lost quite a few parts for the Spitfire. But
oh my gosh! So nice cars,
nice cars.
Dolomite Sprint. Did a barn find on one of those quite recently. I'd like a longer bar. I don't suppose you've got a longer bar, have you?
I think my socket's
So I've got a really long bar, but it's jack handle.
Nice.
Boom. I'm so pro. Oh yeah.
It's loose?
Yeah. So if you want to, if you're at a loose end, at your side, below the carb is the distributor.
Yeah, I was just looking at that.
It'd be nice to unclip the cap carefully.
It looks like it's actually screwed on.
Is it?
Yeah.
So unscrew the cap.
To unscrew them.
Yeah,
and get it off.
Just clean up the contacts. Check the contacts, clean them up, and the same on the rotor arm. And then by the time I've taken these plugs out and cleaned what needs cleaning.
Yeah, that's a big.
That cap looks new.
Doesn't look too bad, does it?
Oh my gosh, that looks.
That.
So just I reckon.
We get a little bit of paper in.
Bit of paper in
there. Off a bit.
Yeah, that looks really nice though. This is happening slowly, just because access with the Slant 6 is just a little bit restrictive. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know if it'd be easier if it was left undrive. But... However, plugs coming out look all right.
Do you want a brush for the plugs?
Yeah,
probably give them a brush off.
Yeah. Right, last plug is coming loose. Hallelujah. Okay, quick recap time. We've pulled the main fuel feed from the carb. We've cleaned up the plugs, we've cleaned up the distributor cap and the Rotron, which look quite new actually. Oil is good, and we are ready to put the key in the hole and turn it over with the plugs in their leads to see if we get any spark. We'll turn it over with no compression just to be sure, and if the engine's free, then we go hurrah. If there's a spark, then we go hurrah again, and then we get the Tony BMW can of hope and we introduce fresh fuel, and there's a chance it could fire. We'll see.
Try turning it over.
Can you?
Yeah.
You sit in and see if you get any dash lights. Make sure it's in neutral, which we know it is actually because we've tugged it out.
Whoa!
Ah! Well, the wipers sort of worked.
I don't know where. Oh, where's the?
Okay.
Oh, radio's on.
Oh, amazing.
And I've got lights on the dash.
Have you?
Oh,
Whoa! Bloody hell, man! Are you trying to frighten the living shizen
got
out
the
of
fan
me?
working. Okay,
With your
going.
safari beige. I had it. Yeah, I had a spark on that number one plug, and obviously that was nice and free, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Gosh, that's so nice and satisfying. Right, I'm putting the plug straight in. I'm not waiting around because my trousers are so sweaty. I don't think I can bear it.
I'm going to come clear in case I scare you again.
That is really good. I'm not saying I've got trust issues, but I'm not going to put my hand anywhere near the wipers. Is this car staying in the family? Is it going to be for sale?
It will. No, it's not for sale. Yeah.
So if I get this car running today, aside from the fact that you have to drink that blue alcohol pop that we found in the back of the Escort van from the 90s, are you going to vow to me that you guys will?
If you get it going today, I think that will be the incentive for it to be restored in the next. I'm not going to say year, but
No, I
I
don't
the
expect
incentive to have this restored and on the road again.
Oh, I would
I
love
think
that.
that would be the driving force to get it done.
I really would like that. I think that'd be wonderful. Should we go for a turnover?
Yeah.
Yeah. See if we get a splutter. Right. Okay. Right. It's amazingly, the carburetor, this linkage is so...
You almost feel like you want to sort of slightly
Just
feather it
wanna
with your foot, but I just can't do it.
I don't
want to
wanna-
lock
no.
it in.
So, let's try it again.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
It doesn't feel too far away.
I know. But that's pretty positive.
Yeah.
It's obviously firing, you know, wanting to fire because that splutter is quite strong. I'm just wondering, I don't want to flood it, which is why I'm not leaving the fuel pump running. If you've got a little bit of, if you've got a tiny little cup in the garage or something, or a bit of fuel for the strimmer, I could just put a tiny bit in its
Pour
mouth.
some straight in, yeah.
Yeah,
Fuel
just like
straight in.
a thimble full of fuel. Right. Oh,
Ooh. I sort of almost feel like it needs a little bit of throttle to help it go, but
I know.
I can't give it to it in the car.
I know it's frustrating, isn't it? You're going to try and preset the throttle.
Yeah, so that would be...
Have you seen if it's got a cruise control stalk?
I haven't checked it yet, no.
Yeah, because I'm inclined to think that, judging by the complexity of it.
That's where so let's move it to there.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see.
I'll go with it.
Okay.
If it tries to catch like it just did, I'll engage the fuel pump again.
Okay. Going again.
Yeah. No. Gosh. I can't work out if it's running, like at the speed of the starter. It's a bit of a strange one, isn't it? I don't even know if we were getting anything out of the back. Right, let's take a break from this and have a look at Dave's other cars in the barn. I've got massive shed envy. So when you were a kid, you had all your scrappy cars lined up with all your bits.
Yeah, we had sort of had a combination of scrap car and motorbike and all sorts in here.
And wheel horse.
And a wheel horse, yeah. So I'm pretty sure, I think my dad got that when we moved here, if not exact time, sort of within a year or so. So that's also been here 40 years.
I won't ask about the rickshaw. I'm guessing it attaches to a pony.
That attaches to a pony, yeah. That's Mum's department. And then we stored this once and then did it again for when I got married. So this has then been parked up for 10 years, I think now.
Wow.
So
looks neat.
10 years, I'd probably call this a runner.
So you bought this when you were 18, did you say?
We bought this, yeah, we sort of bought it, I bought it in boxes, as in literally came in various boxes from a garage down the road. And I probably spent a year putting it together and had it running and drivable for a few years.
Yeah.
Then it got shut up again. And then when we were getting married, I said, oh, I want to use it as a wedding car. So painted it again. So the first time I did it black. We painted it again white, redid the engine and the interior.
Wow, you painted it black, then you painted it white.
Painted it black and then white. But unfortunately, well, there we go. Yeah, 2015.
So it's been off the road for a decade in here.
Yeah, 10 years again.
It needs to come out, doesn't it?
It does really, yeah. It needs to clean, it needs to come out.
When's your wedding anniversary?
October.
There you go. Right,
Yeah.
there you go. But look at this, it almost looks like it's been AI created with the light that's coming through the cracks in the wood. We've got a Mini with a lot of Silcoline stickers on.
Yeah, I think, again, that was a field car. So I think I must have been about 12 when we got that. And
MOT failure from out the paper.
MOT failure, Friday ad. I can't remember what it had failed in. Maybe it was rust, but it started and it drove, and that was a field car for I want to say years, but that combined with the other Minis that we had,
yeah,
were running for years, yeah. And that one, yeah, that was I guess the sentimental one. So that one stayed, and the rest went.
Everything else has
scrap
been
heap,
weighed in.
Yeah.
But there is an A series that I nearly tripped over there. So I'm guessing that's one of your spare engines.
Yeah, that's from one of the one on the back is a Mini. Yes, that came out of one of them. The block on the back.
That A series there.
And then
engine crane that's not an engine
crane that's not an engine crane. That's a mobility type crane.
Yeah. That
my mum used to use when she was working as an OT. That got adopted as an engine crane for Spitfires and Minis. Yeah. It always sort of. I don't think the arms were ever quite long enough, so it wanted to tip a bit. But if one of us, so typically me or Ollie, was stood on the back, it would support the weight of an engine, and you'd bring them out. Like
wire wheels.
Wire wheels, yeah. Kids go-kart.
Wow. And the elephant in the room, a Passat that clearly spends a lot of its time in a field.
Yeah, so that was Dad's car, and that was used for years, 15, 20 years. And then rather than it being traded in, he uses it to harrow the fields now.
He actually uses it as a tractor?
Actually uses it as a tractor,
That's
yeah.
just so
he
cool.
attaches an old gate behind it and harrows the field with it. So I've bought a couple of plugs out the barn. I'm just tempted just to see if it...
Did you just... Oh, at the barn?
Yeah, so they're just see if it's...
Throttle's jammed open.
Yeah.
So hang on a minute. So that was misfiring.
Yeah, I had a plug out. I was checking the spark on a separate plug.
But that didn't sound like it was missing.
No.
And you had a plug out.
I had a plug out, I had a lead off.
So let's just explain to the viewers our rationale here. When we pulled the car out, on the back seat was a handful of HT leads, orange ones, these. So we've been going, well, I always assume when I approach these cars that the firing order, the plug leads are in the right place. I have been burnt a few times. Maybe I'm just being gullible. So we double checked, we've just gone online and checked the firing order. You've double checked and you're convinced it's okay.
That's right.
But you just wanted to check that things were firing.
I checked we still had a spark, and I pulled out lead 5, put it into a spare plug, so the plug's still in for the car. Yeah. And then it wanted to fire.
Well, the fact that it's just run, albeit with the throttle nearly jammed open, so that's why we quickly killed it.
Should we put a lead on, try it again?
Yeah, I'm going to say we do, and almost don't feed it any more fuel.
Yeah.
The good news is, though, it's obviously we've been turning it over freely long enough. It will have had the oil pressure up, so we've got to ignore the foot throttle.
Ignore the
Everything's
foot
done
throttle,
here.
So that's on a sort of medium-ish idle. Grab hold of that linkage if we need to.
Yeah, and I'll do this.
We clear?
Yeah. Right, the original fuel pump's working. Did you see that?
That was a pretty nasty looking fuel
That was green.
Yeah, that was coming out there.
Why is it revving like hell? Is that linkage all the way back?
Something must still be.
That's really, that's why, so.
That's got to be wide open there, isn't it?
I don't know, unless we've had it wide open.
Have we had it completely wide open?
Well, I don't bloody know. I'm so confused now.
My logic is that brings that spring into tension.
Yeah, the lever's going that way, which is pulling it back that way, which is pulling this back.
So that's wide open there.
Yeah, so that's off.
What is?
And that is.
Oops. So that's got to be wide open.
Yeah, because when you do that, that's full throttle.
But we did have it a bit open. So do we try it again? Like that, with nothing.
Go on. We just need to be hot on the key because I don't want it to rev out. I mean, it sounded smooth,
it sounded all right, didn't it?
But it revved more than I would want it to. That's all.
You going again?
Yeah, go on then. Oh.
Did you kill it?
No. But there's fuel gushing.
There's got fuel coming out there.
So if you found this hard to follow, I have as well. It's almost like after David checked the firing order, we checked it online, we checked the plugs weren't in the wrong place, and we just sat it out for 20 minutes. Then we go to turn it over again, and it just, without any fuel pumps working, it just fired up. But it was revving, so we killed it off quickly to protect the engine. But it's almost like when this throttle mechanism, which is still quite seized, even when it's backed right off, as if it's idling and you haven't got your foot on the throttle, it's still revving, the engine's still revving. So it's like part of the mechanism is jammed, but we don't know what it is. So we're just trying to work out what it could be so that we can run the engine again and have it not racing in terms of revs. And I've got a damaged seaside bucket here, if you're wondering why, to put the old fuel pipe into, because the fuel pump seems to be working and it's throwing green, looks like Listerine mouthwash into this bucket, which smells actually of just old soil, not petrol. So that's why that's there, because we're not using that, we're using Tony BMW's can of hope. So hopefully in the next 5 minutes we should better fire it up and it actually run at a normal idle speed, not
So I'm going to turn it.
Yeah, I'm going to turn it over.
Leave it.
See if it'll idle lower than it just did.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't really idling, was it?
Yeah.
The children's bucket will catch the old fuel. I'll pulse this if need be, but I think it seems to just want to go with whatever fuel's been put into it.
Yeah.
I don't want to flood it. And this will be our last attempt, really. Because, you know, the carb does need rebuilding. doesn't it?
Yes, it does, yeah.
But we have heard it fire
We have
already
heard it go.
for the first time in 29 years. Let's see if we can get it to
Okay.
actually idle. Fire in the hole. I mean, that's so eager.
That wants to go, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yep. There's something definitely hooky going on with the throttle.
It fires though.
I mean, it blooming
runs.
fires, and it's a little bit too eager. It frightens the living daylights out of me. Well, okay. If we had a bit longer and we played around with that entire linkage, but it's more than the linkage, we know that. But hell, the car runs.
It does.
It's got good oil pressure. It's I think it's a little bit too ready to run, isn't it? But I'm so happy.
That's amazing.
I am really happy. I can't even believe that the fuel pump works, which is very rare on barn finds, very rare indeed.
Yeah, that's why I'm inclined, obviously not now, but I'm inclined to, was it still pumping out
Yeah,
when
look.
it was going then?
Yeah, it was chugging away, yeah.
Has he filled your bar?
No, it hasn't filled it.
I'm inclined to try and, or next time, try and drain it completely,
Yeah,
flush something through it,
yeah.
and then put some clean in a tank and maybe just soak all of this.
I would. You could soak it. You could soak the linkage in diesel
Yeah,
for a week or two. And
Yeah.
actually, I think the fuel tank I had a look underneath can probably come down underneath. It's probably easier to take it out.
and just drain
And there's
it
a
out.
really you can clean it out with some really nice stuff from Built Hamber that I've used, and it's
Yeah.
water, and you can tip it down a normal drain. See, Dave, it wants to run. It was
Does
born
want to
for
run.
it.
Well, it is running. I'm going to count that as running.
Oh, that's
running.
that's sort of running a bit.
It's me that's killed it. No
That's
one else.
completely running. Well, we killed it because I just didn't want it to rev out and
Yeah,
damage it. But hell, that's amazing. I'm really, really pleased.
it's brilliant. It's almost unbelievable.
I'm really
isn't it?
pleased. It's been a lot of fun today. Not just seeing this BMW and it firing up, but seeing the other stuff that's squirreled away in the shed. So I want to say a massive thanks to Dave for contacting the Late Break Show so I can come and get the spanners out on it. But also I want to say thanks to the family as well. And if you have a car or you know of someone with a car that you think is worthy of me coming and doing a barn find episode, maybe it's got an interesting backstory, maybe it's been in your family for ages, maybe it's in a real barn or not, in a normal garage, in a lean-to, under a tree, in a field, get in touch. There is an email address in the description. We need some photos and some backstory. And if you want to subscribe to the channel and you haven't already, subscribe. We've done dozens of other barn finds, so you can go back through the archives. And maybe you want to support us via Patreon and you get early access to videos like this and a blog from me every week about what I'm up to and what I'm filming behind the scenes. Thank you. Phil's packing up to go home, and I thought, let's just hook up to the Escort and see what happens. So we're gonna just attach a bit of fuel and a new battery. Right, bad connection of jump leads because of the Ford's flat terminals. I've had to just do it with the crocky clips. I'm doing this on my phone out of nothing but curiosity.
Let me do it.
We've put a gallon in the tank. Phil's going to film it professionally, but I thought I'd just do this as a backup. You got dash lights on?
Got dash lights on, yeah. Clock's ticking.
The clock is ticking. Right, I'm going to go at the back.
Are we ready?
Yeah, born ready. Worryingly smooth, actually. Worryingly smooth. It's just running with the fuel that we've tipped down it. That's so cool. That's so cool.